Hello, everyone. I'm Jean-Claude at BeyondMystic, and welcome to this Beyond Mystic Deep Woo-Woo episode entitled Simulated Reality with SOLRETA, and this is part number 4. You can find her work at solreta.com and also on YouTube at SOLRETA Ontario. SOLRETA, do you have another window open somewhere?
I might do. Hold on a sec. Is it coming up?
I'm not sure.
Hold on.
I think you're good now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had Safari open as well as Chrome.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So welcome, everyone. Thank you. Sorry for that quick little interruption there as we started the introduction to you guys. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight on this beautiful Friday evening. This is, of course, number 4 of our simulated reality show with SOLRETA. I'm excited to have her back. So SOLRETA, welcome back.
Thank you for having me back, and thank you to everyone joining us as well. I can see there's people from all over the world here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And so let us in a little bit on what's been happening with you. You're, of course, in a different location. So what's going on, SOLRETA?
Oh my gosh, if I look a little bit tired, or a lot tired, it's because it's been crazy moving. So I've developed some muscles. I helped the man with the moving truck. And yeah, it's just been focused on 3D life, apart from having a couple of readings squeezed in between, which has been good to stop and to tap more into that. Thank you. I don't feel it so much at the moment. I feel very tired. But yeah, tonight I'm having a good sleep and a sleep in tomorrow. So that's kind of what's been happening in my world, but it is over here in Australia because we are a little bit ahead in the future. It is May Day. So you and I were speaking about love because I guess in the old, traditions, May Day or the 1st of May was the day where people would focus on love and focus on, what it was that they wanted to attract. And you can use different things, whether it's candles, crystals, but it's really just about putting your intention out there. And I think, because we're talking about simulated reality and we're talking about manifesting or kind of like hacking source code within this 3D matrix, I think it's a good day to talk about love.
Yeah, absolutely. And also Beltane Festival, of course,
Yeah.
if you're into Druidic versions of things. Well, okay. I think that's a great topic for tonight. I'm excited to do that. And Alexa is saying, hello, JC. So brother looks smashing. Yeah, something about your lighting. You look very different tonight.
Oh, thank you. I thought this house was terrible lighting. It's got lots of overhead down lights, which aren't always the best,
But it appears that your internet connection is better here than the other location. Is that possible? Because so far you look pretty clear. Okay, yeah, that's a big difference.
It is better.
All right. Well, let me bring my poster back up here and get myself organized in my thoughts here. I've had such a week also. It's been a crazy busy week. Of course, I'm busy getting this greenhouse ready for the season, and I've got a lot of work and contractors in and around the house, and I've been producing all of these videos and at the same time creating this new platform where I can upload these new uncensored videos. So, and as I launched that Wednesday night, I've been really busy responding to emails. For the most part, 99% of it went off without a hitch, but there was a few people who had trouble accessing the videos. And so I was doing my level best to go through all the emails and answer them as quickly as I could. But it all worked out okay, but I'm lagging in my sleep. So I'm looking forward to maybe sleeping in tomorrow and Sunday a little bit. All right. So, where do you want to start? Actually, I had a cool interview today, which is now on the Uncensored site with Jenny. And we talked about sexual energy vampires. We talked about relationships and this weird times that we're living in now, the spiritual war that we're living in now. And so I'm excited to see how you're downloading this information and where you want to, I guess, begin couching this conversation here with the audience.
Yeah. I guess for me, things are manifesting so fast. And what I mean by that is, the thought of moving and really holding that intention and visualizing where it is that I want to move. And all of that unfolded, I think within about 2 days. All of a sudden, the place that I'd been in for years and years, the owner had decided to sell. And I thought, well, why delay? Let's just book a removalist and let's get packing. And my dad was so sweet. He organized that. And it was funny, when the guy turned up to move, it was sort of like not quite a large fan. So we did 2 trips and I had to help lift everything. So it was just me and this guy, but we did really well. So I've actually just put things into storage because we're in such a state of flux at the moment where we are in terms of transitioning from one period of time into a next period of time to do with, I guess, December 21st with Uluru, what happened. It really just feels like reality is still manifesting and settling around us. So I feel like what we focus on at the moment, what we put our intention towards, we really need to think about how we're creating for the future. So the kind of visualization that I was doing in terms of where I wanted to live, or I guess what that looked like. It's funny, I'm looking around the house that I'm in now, and I'm like, some of those things have actually come about, like just certain light fixtures and different things like that. I'm walking around and the view, like, you know, being in a 2-story house, just overlooking the garden, everything. I'm like, that's kind of the way that I visualize things. So it's really funny. I'm kind of realizing what I put my intention to has manifested. So yeah, I'm really just focused on that at the moment. But in terms of like love and relationships, I think the energies are moving really fast, especially with that Scorpio full moon that we just had. Things are, you know, just stirring up because it's about bringing things up from whether it's things that are unresolved from the past. So you might be hearing a lot from past lovers or, you know, past relationships wanting to get back together. Things like that are surfacing is what I'm finding, not just for myself, but for, you know, for clients as well, is that they need to make a decision from old world, new world. And the thing is, you get to choose yourself. So it's not about having to please others. We actually get to formulate this plan, this pathway. And I think for me, this is where it's really good to have everything in storage, to have that freedom at the moment, to be in a beautiful, beautiful place that we're in, and to be able to just go, right, I really need to think about like what intentions, what I want to manifest on my path. So it feels really, really exciting, and just a time to focus on family, which is beautiful. But yeah, things that aren't matching your energy and intentions are just being shaken out. So it's almost as if they're getting exacerbated into the other side of, I guess, how would I say, like making themselves known, or it's like areas of weakness are sort of coming about. So this is happening not just within personal lives, but within like systems. You know, if something's not working or if it's not going with the main collective, we're seeing things sort of sift and come to the surface and be exposed. Now, things are being exposed so that they can be changed. Sometimes they can be remedied. Sometimes we need to come up with new solutions. So I think it's a really interesting time, and just it's such a time for quantum jumping. And that's what's really cool. That's what fascinates me. And just the way that we're interacting with this field. Like I tried to film a show, I think it was on Thursday. My computer totally turned off, crashed, and just like all this stuff happened. And I've got virus protection on it. It's less than a year old. And then later that afternoon, my phone calls were just like coming through like crazy. None of them would answer. So I couldn't answer any of them. The phone's quite new. And then all of a sudden I'm saying to my son, it's just not answering. And he's like a tech genius. So he's like, give it here. And he couldn't get my phone to unlock either. Then all of a sudden the street light goes out above me. And I'm like, oh, it's one of those days. It's always where it's just actually like my energetic field. And this is something that, you know, that's within my family, not being able to wear certain types of watches that have batteries because the battery just goes. But I know on those days, it's probably better to order Uber Eats rather than cook. And just try to stay away from electronics. I've blown up blenders, food processors, all sorts of appliances have just gone on days like this. So there's something definitely happening within our electromagnetic field. Now, what's interesting is as a child and when I was a teenager and sort of early 20s, this would come about more when it was to do with, you know, if I was feeling emotionally, you know, kind of frustrated or angry. On this day, yeah, it was busy, but I didn't feel like any of those intense emotions. But I did feel some kind of electromagnetic kind of like emitting frequency coming from my aura. So I haven't had a chance to tap in and to, oh, thank you, Jenny. I haven't had a chance to tap in and to really look at what was happening. But I did have a client that next day, and when I looked at him, he had violet in his aura. And I said to him, you've got a big influence with affecting electronics. I can see that within your aura. And I said, you need to channel that and use that. It's a gift. You can use this, whether it's working with Qigong, whether it's working with Reiki, with empty force martial arts, directing and influencing energy flow. So I know that that's sort of like a twofold part of things. And this is where I'm saying it's really important right now to stop and to really collect your thoughts on where it is that you want to go with things. So I actually just bought a new journal that has different things in it, like where you write, your goals, affirmations, what it is you're grateful for. And I have a few of these because every time I get that feeling of we need to create something new.
Right.
But yeah, really, really important.
Awesome. Well, I had similar experiences, not with the electrical stuff, but again with the jitters in the last couple of days. And today too, I was telling Sarah, what's going on, man? I'm like relatively calm. There's nothing really big happening, but I keep having these heart palpitations. Again, as you were talking, I just realized I went to check the Schumann resonance. And of course, it was off the scale here today too. Something weird was happening. Yeah, we'll get it back into this energy stuff and this quickening, I think, of the manifestation energies around us throughout this show here today. Before I do that, there was somebody just before I went live. I forget who it was now, but there was like 3-4 questions in the chat. And of course, as soon as I clicked the live buttons, those disappeared because it was like buffered away. So whoever had those questions, I apologize for that. But please, at some point, please put them back into the chat here and we'll try to address them as we go. Just so you know, I don't have them in the buffer in the StreamYard application I have now. The one question I still see, though, was from Lisa. And she says, any plans for SOLRETA to do new meditations on Spotify, etc.? And I think that's what Jenny was responding to, that she likes your voice for your meditations. So what's the plan for that, SOLRETA?
Yeah, so I do have plans. I've got a mic set up and things now. And where I'm living is so much quieter. It's actually in the hills, so it's beautiful. Waking up to kookaburras and cockatoos and just nature instead of traffic. It's it is really a place to just rest and restore and refocus energy and intentions. And I think we might have mentioned on the show last time that my guides have been giving me the word intenergy. So I actually made it into like a little infographic because this is the word that they've been going on about for probably about a month now. So intenergy, it's like what you put your energy and intention to. So they're really talking about this. So I need to do that and put my intenergy into doing some new meditations because I've got a few written down in the files. So yeah, just got to record.
Sorry, you caught me between a cough there. Right. I've been having some allergies, a little bit reaction from working outside, and the pollen's already out and all that. And I try not to take any allergic pills or anything. I don't like taking medications unless it's really bad. But today I probably should. I'm feeling a little bit kind of stuffy. Okay. Why don't we pull some cards to see what the energy is for this episode? It'll kind of set the tone here. And I think what we can do if we're going to have this conversation about relationships, and again, from your and I perspective, our clients are talking about this a lot right now. There's something happening in the field. So perhaps there are people in the chat now who would appreciate having a quick reading here during the show about their relationship. So if that's the case, please do put that in high caps here in the chat room, and we'll try to get to those questions as well. But we'll first start with a general energy reading on the topic of Mayday, Beltane, and our relationships here.
We picked a powerful day, and luckily electricity is stable. So the other thing that I wanted to say too, so we've got the cards out for general reading, and as you guys know, I always pick face down. So I've got my little cards here, and so what we'll do, we'll feel into these. There was something else I was going to say. It'll come back to me. So I'll just feel into these. Oh, number synchronicities. I saw that a few people were saying number synchronicities. That has been happening for myself and for my kids as well, like crazy. So a lot of the number synchronicities I've been getting are kind of tying off the old and going into the new. So totally what's happening right now. So really exciting. So let's have a look at what we've got. For collective, what I'm seeing is a balance with green on top of the heart chakra and gold underneath. So what they're talking about, it's a balance of love, and it's a balance of this universal or this God energy. So they're talking about tapping into your true potential. And what they're saying is, they're actually saying the words like God potential. So what we've been seeing and what we've been sold to in movies and what we've been, I guess, indoctrinated into is a form of love that's, I guess, somewhat unrealistic in a way. You know, there's always different cataclysmic events that take place throughout the movies, but what they're showing me is this sense of, the only way to describe it is God love. That's the words that they're giving me. So this heart-centered God love coming in with your intention of what it is that you desire to manifest within a relationship sense. They're saying first you must have this plugged into your heart space, this energy. So you must be centered like within your heart space and within your own energy. Really tune into that frequency. What does that feel like? As if it was a dial, as if it was an energy, and feel that electrical current running throughout your whole nervous system, throughout your whole body, throughout your chakras, throughout your acupuncture system, throughout your aura, and feel that generating as a torus field is what they're talking about. So really feeling into this frequency. And then when I'm describing it, they're showing me it's like pink and gold emitting from this torus field. Now, what they're showing in terms of like then plugging that intention in, it's more to do with dropping in that that feeling of what it is that you want to experience or what the desired outcome is, and really bringing that into the frequency as though it's already happened. So they're talking about creating an energy field first before dropping the intention in. Otherwise, you're dropping the intention in, it's kind of like as in like, momentum behind it. So this is what they're showing me at the moment. So the other thing that I'm seeing is a phoenix energy. And they're talking about rising from the ashes. They're talking about like divine love rising from the ashes. And they're talking about that we're going to start seeing examples of this divine love on the earth. But yeah, they keep showing first it's got to start like within your own heart and be generated within your own field. So I'll flip these cards. Oh, this is just perfect. Okay. All right. So what they're talking about in relation, we've got that here. So here's this, we've got all the fields that we were just talking about. This is the card of the Aeon. This is about transformation. This is about manifesting. It's actually about using that tantric womb space energy. So it's interesting, you and Jenny were talking about Tantra. So this comes into it. It comes into how we're talking about, switching on this torus field, running this current, this frequency through, the nervous system, through the chakras, through the acupuncture system, through the aura. So we have this here. This is Nuith, the Mother Sky Goddess. So she's the one that we set our intentions to, or we ask and pray, in Egyptian mythology or in ancient Egypt. This is who we would have, asked for these things to manifest from. So the cards are echoing what Spirit is talking about, just using slightly different language. But right. we have Horus in the middle. So he is, I guess, the overseer of the left and the right mystery schools, which is where they would have taught Tantra, they would have taught manifestation. It's the esoteric, it's the esoteric, it's, the left and the right eye, it's the masculine, it's the feminine. It's eyes open, eyes closed in the way of manifesting and seeing the world. So this is about going to that deep womb space within, just how we were talking about going into that heart space. And what's funny is we talked about gold and we talked about green over this heart space. And in this womb space, that's the colors that we have. There's gold with a green edge around as well. We can see that there's 4D being within here. Now, what's interesting to me, she looks kind of like a Medusa. So there's a story with Medusa. So Medusa was actually said to be more beautiful than Aphrodite, and Aphrodite got jealous and cast her into being, I think it was first a Pegasus and then the snake-headed goddess that we know. So there's this innocence and wisdom with Medusa standing there with her finger in her mouth. So it's almost as if she's kind of like unaware of what she became, but she's sort of just tapped into that spirit or that soul level. So the other thing we have is these 3 little babies underneath the wings, and we can see that they're those are almost like seeds that are planted. They're in that womb, they're in that process of transformation. So this is about what we said, dropping that energy, dropping that intention into this field. It's exactly what we described. That's why I love working with the class this way, because Spirit really gets a chance to talk about what it is with an open mind, a clean slate on how to work with these energies. And this is when I work one-on-one in a personal session. This is how we pick the cards, but in relation to your questions that you're asking, or in relation to how do we sort of, look at what's happening in the current picture now, but how do we quantum jump to this next space? What is it we can do to create that shift? And when you start to get into alignment within this way, it really does start to manifest into the Emperor. So the Emperor doesn't have to change his energy for others. Others need to rise up to the energy of the Emperor. This is the Phoenix energy that I was sensing before we flipped the cards too. So this is also an energy of Jupiter. This is about expansion. This is about things coming into abundance, coming into greatness. So when we work with energy in this way, and when we start to really work with it, it does lead to this Emperor energy. And also the female counterpart of this is the Emperor. So we have to become that Emperor, that Empress that we desire to attract. We have to become that ourselves. So anything that is not of this frequency, this is 5 of Cups, we need to flush out, we need to get rid of. So 5 of Cups represents that energy of something stuck and not going anywhere, or needing to have an overhaul. So we can see that this is an energy out of fear. So it's about eliminating, staying in things out of fear. We also have 5 of Swords, defeat. So 2 5s. This is talking about really looking at things that feel that they're at a standstill, or feel that they don't match up and don't grow with these energies, these frequencies. So, it might be a job. It might not necessarily be just to do with love. This represents how we manifest, is what they're showing me, in all areas of life. Now, what's beautiful about this card, even though it doesn't look so beautiful, the cups are pure. The original intention of what it was to manifest was pure. It's at the time, but perhaps this got a bit polluted. It got a little bit convoluted. So we have a Scorpio energy with this. So this is about going into the deeper recess emotions of the mind to look at what it is that we learned from the experience. What is it that we want to discard or take with us into the future? So it's an opportunity to reassess the situation, to perhaps start from scratch in a way, but not to see it through the eyes of fear, which is happening within this card. This card is asking us to tap into courage. So for me, this orange, and we have it in here too, and in this other card, is talking about stepping into your confidence. And if you perhaps don't have confidence for now, I'm hearing them reference, borrowing confidence. So whether it's visualizing someone that's confident and feeling what it feels like to be in that, they're saying the word dynamic energy space. So there's a certain frequency that you get into alignment when you step into confidence. Now, remembering that confidence sometimes also can feel a little bit like the opposite, nervous anxiety type energy, that little bit of bubbling, but it's all on how we channel it and the intention that we set behind that. So it will have a certain kind of electricity to it, but we can change the lens of how that energy comes through. So what we see with the kidneys at the top, to me in Chinese medicine, kidneys on a negative aspect represent fear. And it's about how we filter, how we perceive, how we experience this world on a very physical, sensorial level. We can see in the bottom the emotions, the water, are kind of murky and green and a little bit polluted. There might be jealousy, toxicity, other things that are no longer fulfilling. And we can see there's sort of like a Venus artery system, and there's a Mars energy at the top. Now, what's happening in the center of this card around the throat and heart, there's a purging going on. So if you feel things are coming up at the moment emotionally, because this is Scorpio too, and we've just had, full moon in Scorpio. So that does stir things up. It does bring things into illumination. It brings things from the dark, from the shadow aspect, to light the way, to shine attention on where we need to perhaps adjust things and refocus. So this is perfect that we're talking about this today. So with the 5 of Swords, this card is the card of defeat. Now, this is talking about programming for me in relation to this spread. This is talking about indoctrination. It's talking about what we feel that we've been told that we need to have.
Right.
So I'm seeing that come up here, because swords for me is about like the intellect, it's about our mind. It's sometimes to do with intuition as well. But we can see there's a negative spirit energy with the inverted pentagram. We can see this chaotic field, this source field or archonic energy that's feeding into our physical world. So we need to energetically cleanse. We need to strip back the different layers. We need to discover who we are on a soul level, to come back into this this space of God, and this space of the heart, and this space of the universe and intention. So I'm just going to ask them for, when we come back to this area, what is it that we're working with that is asking me to look into this?
Okay.
Okay, and we'll flip these over. They're just instructing me to flip. I was going to say, I did see a lot of gold and yellow, and that's what we've got predominantly in the cards. And then we have this one in the middle. So when we do that and we come back into this space of the center after, we just talked about stripping the energy, and look what we've got. There's a liberation, there's the mask coming off. So this is the Queen of Swords. You need to do this for yourself, is the energy that we have with this. No one else can step in and be that queen or be that emperor that sheds this old energy. We have Prince of Wands and we have Queen of Wands come up as well. So really talking about high level manifestation. This is about, this is a spiritual, like if we're looking at levels, whether it's like physical, mental, emotional, this is happening on a spiritual level, the way that this is unfolding, the way that they're instructing. They're talking about working with it on a spirit level. And of course, we need to bring our physicality into alignment with this spiritual level in order to manifest on this physical 3D paradigm. So these are beautiful, empowering cards. Here again, that we have this Phoenix energy. Now, what's special about this Chariot card with the Prince of Wands, this card is actually all about love. This is moving towards love and moving towards manifesting love. With the Queen of Wands, she doesn't have to bend herself to fit into others' reality. She sits empowered. She's tamed this beautiful wild animal, this cat. There's a real leadership, Leonian type energy with this. We can see on the top of her wand, we have the pine cone, which symbolizes the pineal gland. It symbolizes the third eye being activated. And there's this illuminated energy that we have with her crown with the eagle on top. She's seeing much further than just the physical reality. She's overseeing almost eagle-eye view of how she interacts with the world. She's not having to change who she is to fit in with others. She really is having that orgone energy, that tantric energy, that Taurus field energy generated with her, as is the Prince of Wands. So that's the energy that you can work with when you start to strip away the old levels, the old veils, fears, different things like that. Set the intention. Now getting creative and finding different ways to work with this, what we call like intenergy, that intention and energy. Mm-hmm. So have a look just in your day-to-day, have that question pondering in your mind, whether you're driving or whether you're listening to this while you're driving. Really start to ask yourself, what is it that I wish to manifest? And how can I move towards that? How can I start to apply intention and energy? And I had a client recently, and we spoke about him, and we spoke about relationships, and we spoke about creating the version of himself that he sees himself in as part of a partnership. So we spoke about having that long-term goal of being a husband and finding a wife. Mm-hmm. And what does this look like? How does this husband dressed? When you go on date night, I'm just getting goosebumps all over talking about this. What is it that you're wearing? What is it that your wife likes you to wear? What does she find you attractive in? Is there a certain scent? Is there a certain cologne that she just, finds irresistible? And how do you feel when you're experiencing those dates? So it's really looking at how we can bring this magic in on a 3D level, but we can also plug that thought field into the energy, allow that God to come into the space within, allow that universe to come to space within, and start to actually harness the quantum field and start to emit these waves, emit these frequencies, be the little battery power that we are, and start to have these interactions. Now, what will happen when you do this is it doesn't necessarily lead to all of a sudden that ideal or that perfect love happening straight away, because we all have a past. Now, whether this is a tape that's being played out from a past life, which means that sometimes there'll be really strong patterns that we might repeat over and over again. So we need to pause the tape. We need to look at what it is that the tape has been playing over and over again. How can we find out our dance in this? Because it's almost, that's our way that we've danced through this lesson. So whether it's karmic, whether there's something that was placed over us from another person in a different lifetime, because we have had lifetimes where, you know, there has been magic and there has been different limitations placed on us, whether it's by ourselves for protection or others. And we need to look at what is it that we screen recorded from 0 to 7 in terms of relationships, or what is it that we've been programmed from Hollywood to think is a normal relationship. So Spirit is asking us to really reassess right now, what is a real relationship? What is a real counterpart connection? What is it that we first need to create within ourselves? So, you know, to try and get into this reflective thinking so that we can invite things that are of a higher frequency match. Now, what happens when you do this is things will start to shift and you'll start to feel, you know, whether something's in alignment, but you also want to pick things that are in alignment with your future. You don't want to be stuck or trapped in something that feels that it's good for just the now. You need to attract something that will grow with you, because we don't want to stay at a standstill. We don't want to hit like a 5 of swords or a 5 of cups. We want something that's of that matching, you know, of this kind of like evolution that we spoke about. So first we need to strip away our old fears, our old worries, and old things that we put out for, and look at what we really want to create.
Wow. You know, you and I have had these conversations over the last couple of years, and I don't think we've ever had a moment in time where all the energies are lining up the way they are now and how you've just described them. So that's very encouraging to see, because for a lot of us, these past programs, they have such a hold on us, and it's hard to to remove them. So there's the whole idea of seeing them to begin with, and then being able to go through the process of removing them, and then manifesting what it is actually you want, as opposed to these old programs running you through life. So the fact that these energies are conducive to that is excellent, I think, for the audience. A lot of people are probably hoping for that, for a little bit of a, not a thumbs up, but a hands up, or a little kick in the butt in terms of energy, to make the changes maybe in their lives. So, wow, that's great. Okay, let me take this quick opportunity to say thank you to our PayPal tip jar donators. And there's quite a few questions already, both in PayPal and also here in the chat. I'll start with here in the chat. The first one I saw was from Sage. So Sage, hold on a second here. I'll get right back to you. And so SOLRETA, to make use of our time, maybe we could try to do more people today, more questions, but smaller readings, because there's already a lot. And I'm trying to, let's try to reach as many people as we can today. Okay.
And, you know, when I'm working in this space, it is a timeless space. So if you really do want a reading and you really want to get into the heart of what is happening, I have a discount code that JC's got. I'm sure you pop it up on the screen as well. So it's for the first 10 people to book my the transformative 2-hour sessions, where we really get to look into the different areas of life and look at how we can quantum jump into this you know, new intended place that you wish to get to go to. So was it Love Magic? I think my code was for today in high cap.
I just put it into, I just don't want to lose the buffer. I might have just lost Sage. No, Sage's question is still on there. Okay, let me try to bring this up. So Love Magic in high caps is the coupon code.
Oh, thank you.
Right.
Perfect.
And so that, of course,
So
if you get to, let me bring this up again here for the reading.
Yeah.
Let me bring
So
your
that's for the first 10 people that book either the 2-hour couples readings, because I read for couples together, or for those that book a 2-hour session, where we really tap into this kind of quantum energy that we're talking about. And that's what I love about that, is really having that time with the client to look into those areas, to look into what's happening energetically around you, because the aura is kind of a window or a template for the energy that we're currently interacting with. So if there's something that you're emitting or something that you're vibrating, we'll be able to see it on an energetic level. So it's like a photo for the moment. And then we can talk about, what it is that Spirit talks about bringing in to start to get you onto the path of having that future manifest and unfold. So let's have a look for Sage. I thank you for putting that up.
Yeah. And so as I did that, I lost the buffer, and now I no longer have Sage's question, but I wrote it down. So we'll come back.
I remember that.
Questions here that I just lost in the buffer. So guys, don't worry here. We'll try to get them back to you. So I'm going to ask you in a minute or two to start reposting them as I get closer to the bottom of the chat here. So let me first thank our PayPal tip jar donators. So thank you so much to Jason. Wow, Jason, thank you so much. That's very generous of you. Says thank you, JC and Solreta. This one here, Alexa A, Queen of Unicorns. Lots of love and appreciation to Solreta and JC. If time allows, could Solreta pull a card for me as well? Okay, so let me come back to that one. So Alexa.
And I just saw a comment from Dina just saying that just brought tears to her eyes, what we were talking about. Thank you.
Oh, very good. I appreciate that.
It says, Solreta just brought tears to my eyes with truth. And I think we know when something is true. We get that internal resonance using our body as a pendulum. We know when we have that truth. So I picked some cards for Sage. Let's have a quick look. So what I'm seeing at the moment when I tap into the past, they're talking about lessons around past. They're talking about not trusting intuition. I'm seeing this little blue, almost like a watery teardrop shape fall into the third eye area, and I'm seeing yellow lit up. So they're talking about your intuition was giving you chances to teach truth, but someone else was trying to put their truth in, is the energy that I'm getting. So it's looking at like what's real to you, because a lot of us can be easily programmed, whether it's through like our parents growing up, or whether it's through, partners, different things like that. So I'm seeing some kind of something happening and someone saying, I guess the word to describe it would be, when there's sometimes a narcissistic type energy around and something's happening and you're seeing and witnessing it, but someone else is like, no, that's not what's happening. And there might be projections, or there might be, different interpretations of what that truth is. So I'm seeing a little bit of that possibly around the past. That energy is coming up. And it can be to varying different degrees, but there's something to do with the intuition and not trusting the intuition around that. So we've got the 5 of Cups again, disappointment around that. So there's that purging and that eliminating of those sort of energies that we just spoke about. Now, what I'm seeing come in for current, I'm actually seeing a golden goddess come in. I'm just looking into who it is. The way I just wish that I could almost broadcast the movies that I get shown in my mind, because it's so beautiful. I'm seeing this goddess that's like floating in midair. She's fully illuminated in gold and has this draping gown that almost looks like, a peacock's tail, how it's cascading. She has this beautiful gold dress energy. And I feel that she's in this really regal space. Excuse me. I'll just have another look. I'm not getting a name with this. I feel that it's actually one of Sage's guides. So I don't feel a name as in like a generalized goddess. We'll flip this card and I'll flip the other one. Oh, this is perfect. So we have Prince of Cups. So they're really talking about you being in this space of this golden goddess energy. Now, I do feel that this is a guide. I'm just getting a name come through. I'm hearing the name Mahalia. So when I work with guides, or when I work with spirit that feels that it's there for the best and highest good, or that it has this unconditional love, and that's the sort of energies that we want to work with. So these are multidimensional beings that are coming in contact within our reality, within our time and space, to help bring about positive influence. These are the types of beings that we want to work with, nothing that's negative or lower vibration whatsoever. So when we put ourselves into a golden bubble of protection, I like to visualize like little golden flecks of glitter to reflect away anything that's not of the light or not of that positive intention. So then we also will use the name of the guide that's coming through. So I'm just hearing Mahalia. So when we say it 3 times or more, it's like connecting to a Skype call. So what I'm hearing when we say this is I'm actually feeling the heart chakra and the throat freed up around this. So we have Prince of Cups. So I feel this is about calling in that sort of relationship that you want. The other thing that I'm seeing, I just saw Sage's comment as well. The other thing that I'm seeing too, and I feel that this could go into a massive like 1 hour, 2 hour read with some of the things in this, because there's a lot of past charge around this. So in order to come into a clean slate, in order to come into the here and now, we do need to actually clean that. We need to rid of the Five of Cups. But what they are showing me is the energy of what you're currently getting doesn't live up to the higher intention. It's almost like it's just touching the surface. But we do have the Emperor card come in with the future. So it does show exactly what we spoke about in that collective conscious read that we did before. It speaks about that you can actually call in this Emperor rather than a Prince. But this Prince, I feel, does understand some things in a spiritual way, or perhaps, has a bit of time and energy for that. But yeah, I mean, a Prince compared to an Emperor, it's a big change. It's a big deal.
Wow, that's great.
It doesn't mean someone can't live up to that and become the Emperor, though.
Right. Well, I hope that makes sense for you, Sage. That was a great question. I think I'll do Sarah next. Just reading the energy here, I thought I'd put that on the screen for you guys before I go back to the PayPal tip jar question. So Sarah's asking or saying, tomorrow is my 5-year anniversary with my husband. We have been through so much in these past 7 years. We got sole custody of my 3 stepsons 2 years ago. It's very challenging. Would love some insights.
Yeah, sure. I'm also just seeing a couple of bookings come through. So please make sure to use Love Magic, because that is only available for 10 people as well.
Okay.
So let's have a look.
Let me bring the coupon code up again just to make
sure. Thank you. All right. So I'm just having a look for Sarah right now. Okay. So what's really interesting is I am seeing the energy of the stepchildren being a major influence in there. So when I'm picking cards, it's almost as if their energy is interfaced over the top. So what I mean by this is sometimes, like when we have kids too, we don't necessarily get to put the energy and put that time into the relationship side. Kids can take over, and we can experience more where the energy and intentions are directed more on the kids. So I do feel there is a little bit of that energy being let go. But what's interesting is that I'm getting that come through to do with the future side of things, which is interesting because this has already happened, that sole custody. So I'm just going to flip the cards and see what they're saying. Okay. This is interesting. So we have the card of luxury to start off. So this is a 4 of Cups. This is kind of that foundational energy, something happening. We can see that there's been a hard time in the past. We can see that the storm's sort of behind, and we can see that there's almost a reflective quality is the word that I'm getting with this. In the middle, like in the present, we're getting what I call the choose your own adventure card. So this is a fork in the road. This is a path of being able to choose where you want to go forth. So what we were talking about before in the collective conscious read is really going, what is it that I need? What is it that will help fulfill me on that other level? And bringing it into yourself, bringing it into your Taurus field, bringing it into that space of the heart. So with this, we can see that God spark that we spoke about. We can see that central point of manifestation. We can see that energy radiating out. So what they're showing me for Sarah is even little things. So sometimes we tend to get the energy of the overall, and it will become like a big bubble or a big cloud. Now, if we can just shift one tiny thing, it starts to move that universal force within our favor. So whether it's during like one date night and you start to like get that propulsion, that energy moving towards in a certain way, or whether it's, organizing things with the kids that they can do where you still feel like that partnership energy. Because what I'm getting in regards to the future, and this is where I saw that overlay with the kids' energy kind of like, it's like not being able to sort of do anything without them, or it's like their energy really dominating the relationship, which when we have that husband-wife relationship or that co-parenting relationship on any level, doesn't matter whether it's, masculine energy, feminine energy, it's like when those two people are working together as a couple, that needs to be the base thing that has that strength. And then, some other things are kind of secondary to that. But what we have with this is the card of valor. So looking at, how can I look at things from a different perspective? Because this card to me sometimes appears as an illusion. So sometimes we'll have something manifesting and looking one way, but it's looking at, okay, how can we untangle ourselves from this illusion? Or how can we start to free ourselves to make the course of history go in a different direction? So they're asking for that quantum entanglement, that shedding to happen. So there might be things that you say to yourself subconsciously, like, oh, this always happens, or, I'm not going to plan that because they're always going to be late, or there's always going to be this that happens. So really look at with your thoughts, where the energy is directed, and start to look at new possibilities opening up is what they're showing me. And what I mean by that is starting to create a synergy for future potential. So with that, we need to block off time. If we don't block off time, if we don't plant these little seeds, then that future will never happen. So we need to perhaps look at the calendar, pick 1 or 2 days, or perhaps a half a week or a week, however much you can get, and start to set the intention for certain things to happen. And what I mean by that is putting that time, putting that energy for beautiful things to happen. And it's also being very careful to not step back into the past, to not rehash things, or to not go, it's always gone this way, so therefore it will continue to go this way. So I'm just picking a card. Actually, they're giving me 2 to do with this. Didn't we just say plant a seed for the future? Right. So look at this, when you really, and this is heart chakra for me, this pink and green, and there has to be this Queen of Swords, this unmasking liberation to do with, even though things have always happened this way, there needs to be the scrapping of this in order to go to something that has higher intention. And it has such beautiful, beautiful potential. It has the Sun card, it has Virgo with this. This is about getting organized to make time for the future.
Wow. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I hope Sarah likes that. That's amazing. So Sarah, if you're still here and you heard that, please give us some feedback. Just a quick housekeeping note. Lisa Davis says, the link in the description doesn't work, JC. Change your link you shared in the chat. Okay, so I just went to the video. So just to show you what's happening here, and maybe SOLRETA, you can fix this on your side too. So this is the video that's running live now. In our description, I had this old coupon code, but also this link to solreta.com, which usually when you click on that, it brings you to solretapsychicreadings.com. But right now, when you click on it, it doesn't work. So I'm trying to change that, but I can't change it while I'm live. So Lisa, thank you so much for telling us that. So for the audience, and so for the audience who wants to book a reading, go to solretapsychicreadings.com, and let me bring that link at least here in the live chat so you can click on it.
I'm seeing bookings come up on my phone, so people are finding working. So if you just type my name in with the .com, you should get to it that way.
Well, that's what we were trying, and like I'm saying, you're getting this screen here, solreta.com, you see? So there's still a problem with that one.
I thought that might have been from YouTube. But yeah, somehow some are finding it. So it will come up with solretapsychicreadings.com as well.
Yeah, that one. All right. Okay. So
I'm talking to a web developer, so I'll be getting a new website shortly.
Okay. All right. So thank you, Lisa, for that. Appreciate that. Now let's go to the PayPal tip jar. I think the next question was from Alexa, and Alexa was saying, okay, love and appreciate Jason SOLRETA. Okay, can you please pull a card for me for Alexa, Queen of Unicorns? And thank you for the donation.
That's so cute. Oh, and I just saw John saying he's just booked a 2-hour session, which will be lovely. So I can also work over Zoom. I really actually just work with Skype at the moment because it has a record function. So I love my clients to be able to record the session because I have so many clients. The information just comes flooding through. So you'll get 2 hours worth of information. It will be nonstop from the moment we switch on till we turn off. and time to ask the questions. So instead of trying to remember, I love my clients to be able to relax and actually just take it in and to be able to replay it as many times as they desire. So I can do over Zoom, but Skype has that preference. Zoom we can record as well, and I also work over Facebook Messenger.
Okay.
So let's have a pick. It was for Alexa, Queen of Unicorns, wasn't it?
Yes, and it could be this Alexa A as well. So I'm not sure if the nickname matches, but I think so. So anyways, yes, the person in PayPal was Alexa, Queen of Unicorns. And thank you.
I just saw Sarah said, I'm very much so had to put my hopes and dreams to the side of the sake of kids, but now I'm ready to be able to pursue my dreams and not be stuck in the past and take it all on. Thank you.
Right.
I just feel, tears of release with that, because it is a lot to carry.
Yeah.
And I don't mean, like with the kids and that, but a lot of energy and intention that we place upon ourselves to have to live a certain way. Right. So it's, if you can make time for yourself, you'll find you get more energy from it.
Yeah.
Hi,
hey,
Fabian.
Mike, hi. Yeah. Hey, Mike. How's it going, man? Thank you for being here, Mike.
All
right. So we're back to Alexa, Queen of Unicorns.
Okay. So what I'm actually getting come through for Alexa is there's this portal of gold light and gold energy, kind of like almost like a whirlpool circling above your head right now. And what I'm seeing is it looks like this portal opening up in the universe. There's a lot of portal magic stuff happening for you. So if you want to like send your energy and intention up and out of this portal, and you can use things like Vogel crystals, which are specifically cut crystals that help to work with this. It's almost like a key that you can use to access and work with other dimensions. I'm just seeing that there's an opportunity for you right now to work with portal energy. So I'm going to flip these cards. Look at this. There's like that key, there's that access to working within the other dimensions. So that's the Magnus. This is the ultimate kind of like attractor. He is the card that's sort of at the end of the fall or the journey. So this is shown for Alexa that having to work really hard to get to a place of where this magic can kind of come about. It's like it's the end of the beginning. So we have the Four of Cups, the card of luxury. So this is about like manifesting and bringing that gold energy down so we can actually see that. So this is not water, this is actual energy as well coming into it from here. And then we have completion. So they're really talking about manifesting and utilizing this this portal energy. So looking out for synchronicities like 1111, speaking about portal, I'm just going to ask them for a card from the other deck as well and see. Oops, we've got, look at that portal.
Mm-hmm.
10 of Discs, you're manifesting something physically. Keep putting your energy and intention. Now, the one that was stuck to it before that, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 7 of Pentacles. So it's that same thing. They're like, okay, this is the energy talking about this portal. There's a bit of a run up happening at the moment, but there's about to be like the shoot through side of this as well. So that's quite clear in the card.
Absolutely. Okay, the next question is from Nicole Hargrove, again from PayPal. Thank you so much for the donation. She says, merci, JC and SOLRETA, love you both. Intentionalizing a reading, if that's in the cards for me, pun intended. It's okay. Let's do a little reading for Nicole Hargrove. Thank you, Nicole.
Yeah, let's have a look. Oh, this is cute, what I'm being shown. Okay, so as soon as I started to cleanse the energy of the cards, the energy that came through, thank you, Alexia. So what I started to feel was, and hear, I heard Spirit playing Harry Potter music. So I don't know if anyone knows, there's like a theme song. I'm not going to try and sing it, but I can just hear.
Come on, sing it.
There's like a doo-doo-doo. But I'm just
Wait, do that again?
I'm sorry if you missed it. But yeah, I can hear this Harry Potter music going in the background. They're really, and it's on the right-hand side, and I'm seeing a book. Spirit is showing me this magic book. And there's like holding it close on the right hand side, and I'm seeing it being held close to the heart, being held close to the chest, but on the right hand side. So for me, I don't know whether she's written down intentions or whether this is something that you want to manifest, because the right hand side is like putting your heart's intentions out to the world. So I'm feeling this kind of energy, but there's a magic and mystery. They're talking about getting into this excited energy. So that, I guess, magic that stirs up within us when we hear this Harry Potter music, you know, it takes us back into that childhood like energy of magic is real, manifestation is real. So they're talking about stepping into this state of wonderment when you're working with magic and when you're working with intentions, is what I'm being shown, or you're working with manifestation. So they're talking about doing things that tap you into this magical space so that you can take your intentions into this physical realm. So let's flip these cards. Okay, this is interesting because this sort of shows an energy of struggling with self, or with thoughts, with the mind, overthinking. So we have three of swords, which sometimes if we're talking about love, or even talking about like friendships or, you know, family dynamics, relationships, it can feel a little bit like being stabbed through the heart. Sometimes in relationships, this card will be like a third party situation where perhaps someone was dishonest. So we have the card of sorrow. Now this is in the past. Now this also is Saturn energy. So this speaks about limitations. So there may have been limitations placed on self, or limitations of, they're saying self-worth. So this is really looking at what pattern, what have you changed in regards to self-worth from the past into the present? And this is going on collectively. We've got the unmasking come up again, that Queen of Swords. So yeah, this is really looking at like, how can you liberate yourself? Are you still holding on to anything from the past? Because we do have Saturn and we have Venus energy with this Libra balance card, and I feel that there's an energy of being there for other people, but not necessarily opening up to abundance of others helping you, or it's sort of that energy of no, I'm okay, it's fine, and sort of keeping some things private and to yourself. So we have Princess of Swords come up in regards to the future. Now, remembering what they were showing me in regards to future was the Harry Potter music, the book that's held close to the heart, and talking about like manifesting that. So I feel it's to keep your intentions close to your heart, perhaps not to speak them to others so much, because with this card, it does represent communication. But the Princess of Swords is kind of getting herself into trouble a little bit. And what I mean by this is we can see that she has the good heart intentions. There's green. Her armor is not really armor. It's kind of a gossamer silk dress. And with the sandals, they almost look like ballet slippers. So she's meant more for flow, more for dance, not really to go out and battle. So this is about manifesting from a different or a new way. And I feel that it's more from the heart rather than like with thought. So look at when you're trying to create your reality, are you doing it from a heart, from a thought point of view, and tapping into that mystery, that magic, and getting into that excitement of that Harry Potter type enchantment energy? Or are you going into like the darker side of that Harry Potter side, you know, with the, I forget what they're called, you know, the darker spirits and things that are in there? Because that movie has both the magic and the fun lightheartedness, and it has the evil sort of side of it too. So this is really looking at, with conversations with where you're putting your energy and intention. Do you need to put yourself in the place of, I'm trying to think of how to describe this. Have a look at if you're interfering in anyone and they're not stepping up, presenting an energy of wanting to change things for themselves. Sometimes this is a card that represents, just trying to get the clear English words, they're showing me feelings. I'm seeing someone stand on a path and it's like, their path, their trajectory is going a certain way. Now, we can't necessarily stop that, but sometimes we can be like, ho, like stop, slow down. You know, there's a big volcano there. Right. And the person might be like, no, I'm going on a journey, leave me alone. And it's like, but I'm trying to tell you, there's a volcano there. It's about to erupt, it's about to explode. Sometimes we need to hop out of the way to let others have their tower moment. And unfortunately, sometimes there's nothing that we can do about it. That maybe needs to be a soul evolution for their experience. So have a look if there's anywhere that you're getting involved, perhaps where you don't need to be, and focus on your own path, focus on your own intentions, because you can't always take others with you.
Okay. Wow, that's beautiful. Okay, and the next one up I had from earlier was Lisa DiMartino. So let me bring that up. Can you guys see this? Yes. Okay. So Lisa, my husband and I had a couple of readings. Loved it. Okay. First, thank you so much. Bought him a 2-hour reading from May. Okay, that's great. And thanks to you and JC. Okay, always good test. And I saw the question earlier. She was asking if it's a good time to buy land right now. So I believe it was Lisa. So maybe I saw that in the chat earlier in the buffer. So let's ask that question for Lisa. Is it the right time for her to buy land right now?
Let's have a look. Lisa and her family are so beautiful. I feel so blessed to read for just the most beautiful clients. So just sending you and your family a lot of love, Lisa. So let's have a look.
And Nicole, I hope that made sense for you. Oh, wow. She says, okay. Oh, wow. Nailed it. Thank you so much. There you go. We have her validation. Okay. Thank you, Nicole.
I tried to get as much out in that short space.
Right. That's awesome.
Okay. So we've got 3 cards. So the first one they said when I started to tap in was, what do we need to know now about this energy? Now, what I'm being shown is a Phoenix energy again. It feels like there's a lot of Phoenix energy happening at the moment. There's a lot of like the old dying off. Now, the thing with magic and with alchemy of the Phoenix is that we can't sort of like poke and prod it. We can't help it to die off faster. It needs to happen organically in its own way. But then when it's coming to life, it also can't be summoned, because it will go into a period of almost like a cryo type state where it becomes frozen in that animation and not brought back into full life. So let's have a look what we've got, because they're showing me, with looking into the situation right now, there's a Phoenix energy. So whether there's something that needs to close off before land can come about, or whether there's a conversation and things that need to be talked about in order to, it's almost like we need to know something about the future before clarifying the past or the present, which is, I'll flip the card, that might make more sense. Okay, so we have the card of virtue when it comes to the past. Now, this is those Phoenix sort of colors, but what it really is talking about, it's 3 of Wands. So it's almost like an initial achievement or growth on a spiritual level. So it's really talking about having that spiritual intention, bringing things into alignment. So with this Phoenix energy as well, it's looking at how can we bring this energy and this intention. And it's interesting because that's a mythical, magical creature, perhaps that existed in the past or perhaps existed in another dimension. How can we use this special energy and intention to manifest on the physical? The other thing that I'm seeing is like water, and I'm seeing mountains. And I feel like there's a stream or something in front of the mountain with like what they're showing me. But I feel that it's using the energy, whether there's some kind of manifestation with working with Phoenix energy to help bring about a manifestation. That's kind of what I'm seeing, this Phoenix fly over this property, this land. So we have the energy of the sun, we have the energy of Aries. So Aries, being the first sign in the zodiac, has the most intention, the most kind of like get up and go fire within it to help make things happen and to help make things come into being. So it is a little bit of that Phoenix fire energy too. And we can see that something is being born out of this conversation. So needing to look into, all right, if future is going to look like this, and talking about it in a positive sense, even though there can be other things that unfold and things that are out of our measure, but if we're looking at it from a positive point of view or a positive tense, what is it that we wish to have around us? What is it that we wish to enjoy? Because we could pick 2 things. We could pick a bunker, or we could pick a place in nature that feels abundant. You know, both are around survival, but different views on survival. So I'm going to flip these other 2 cards. Oh yeah, look at that. So there's that energy that they're talking about, focusing on the things that could happen or could manifest and could go. And that's 10 of Swords. It's a card of ruin. So there's that bunker type energy that we're talking about. And then we have the Queen of Cups. This is very reflective. There's that body of water that we talked about. And there's almost like she almost looks kind of like a mountain type energy with a stream in front of it, or with a lake in front of it. So Queen of Cups, she's very in tune with her intuition. Out of all of the cards, like like cups and discs and swords and wands. She's the most in tune with her surroundings, the most in tune with her intuition, her environment, her feelings. So it's really asking you to use that intention, that energy, that Phoenix energy to bring about this positive manifestation. So I'm just going to ask them for another card to do with property. They want to ask something around timeline. I'm flipping this and I'm hearing 4. So it is a little bit of a journey at the moment. So with this, we have the card of the Fool. So he goes into something open-eyed wonderment. So it's the Alice in Wonderland archetype. It is the Peter Pan archetype of going in this childlike appreciation, this I'm open to things coming towards me. So at the moment, not to choose something out of fear, but to be in this open-eyed, wow, isn't this world amazing? Isn't it wonderful? And see what draws to you from this experience. Because we have the card of fortune when you do, which is Jupiter, which is expansion. So they're talking about the way in which to go about seeking land and letting that manifestation unfold.
Okay, very good. Wow, that was pretty good. So I hope, Lisa, that makes sense for you. So let me see what I have next. Okay, so Missy, I believe it was, who was asking questions before the live show, and then I asked her to retype it, and of course I lost it again. You guys are typing so fast that I can't keep up. So I'm asking Missy if she's still in the chat to at least get one of her questions in, as she was trying to get early on us here earlier tonight. So Missy, let me look to see if I can find one of your questions. If not, I'll pick another one in the meantime, and I'll get back to you. So the last thing I have from Missy is about Astro Sam. So no, that's not a question. Okay. What can I do next? Let me see here. Let's try to pick anyone here, because it's going really fast. Okay. Come on. Somebody kept saying earlier too, please pull a card for me. Where are you? Let me see if I can find you. Somebody was asking that for a while too. I'm doing my best, guys, to try to get a good sample of all of you guys here, but it's moving pretty fast. And I want to get some from the live chat here as well. Okay, Mani, is that a question? Okay, there you go. So he says, Mani, I guess you are spot on from last time. I guess you read from her last time. Any cards on my career move would be amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Let's have a feel into it. All right. Yeah. The first thing that I get, this is really interesting. So what I'm feeling, and this might sound really weird, there's a certain density that's coming in on the mental plane, and it's clouding things. I'm seeing a split within how you feel and what's happening in the world around. And what I mean by this, it's as though, say we have this free energy, we have, we feel what it feels like to be in this body, in this aura, whether it's third dimension, fourth dimension. I'm seeing this energy of a pillowcase almost being placed over the head. I've not seen this before, but what they're showing me is it's actually harder to use our 5 senses if there's a pillowcase or, a covering over our face. So they're saying it's like the heart is feeling one way in terms of like what it is that you want to manifest. But in terms of feeling a little bit stuck or a little bit clouded, they're showing me this. Let's ask them for a card to represent what this means, because I haven't seen this before. So they're giving me 2. There's even a little bit of a feeling of, sometimes when something feels out of sync with where we are or where we're going, sometimes like we'll start to feel sick, or we'll start to feel like, oh, I just feel like I'm not meant to be here today. And our body will start to respond accordingly. They're showing me something happening like within the physical, using your body as a pendulum for the moment. And what they're showing me is there's something that's sort of like weighing or holding down and dampening the senses to some level. So with that, okay, so it's like we're trying to operate on a 4th dimension and beyond, but it's so dense, it's so thick, it's so heavy, it's like holding you really down in the 3rd dimension is what they're showing, or even feeling like it's taking you energetically below the 3rd dimension is what they're trying to show me and what they're trying to communicate. The other thing that I'm also getting, I just felt almost like a inflammation within the joints. So what I mean by this is almost like a bit of stiffness, a little bit of soreness. They're suggesting to look up what is the meaning of like inflammation in the joints, which I guess in the later extent of that would be like an arthritis. So what does that mean? Restriction. I'm hearing them say restriction. Let's flip these cards and have a look. So I feel they're giving us cards. So we have the card of science. Now, remember that science and spirituality used to go hand in hand. And at one point, science broke off away from spirituality. We lost that spirit molecule within the science. And it became almost like an indoctrination, a religion is what I hear people call it nowadays, that people blindly believe some of the things to do with the medical things that are happening at the moment. So we have the card of science and we have the card of cruelty. So these are swords energy. So we have the 6 of swords and the 9 of swords. It feels like the words they're giving me is like down to the wire in terms of like changing the way that things are now or the way that they were in the past. I feel that there's restrictions and limitations and that they're operating in a world that feels kind of draining. We can see there's an etheric, kind of like static, crazy energy going around. So this might be like something that's making you feel like clouded in the mind. They're asking me to pick a card to look at career coming from a heart space. And we have what is this one? 9 of Wands. We have strength. So this is actually you stepping and standing within your power, being in the physical reality as well as in the spiritual, and not feeling that others are knocking you off your perch. It's actually kind of surrounding yourself with your tribe, and really starting to step into who you are. Because it feels almost like a split between 2 different realities happening. Just asking them for a card to expand more on that pillowcase side of things. And we keep getting swords come up whenever I look into the current situation. So it's to step outside of the mind to get into the higher aspect of what spirit or what soul is trying to show us is available. Yeah. And then that's where you find your power. So every time I looked into what's currently happening or like current job situation, I'm just getting swords come up. It's so weighing down on the mind. It's so heavy. And so taking on other people's belief systems and ideals, you need to sort of step within that strength and find your power. Okay. So that one's clear as well.
Okay, that's very good. I'll come back to, I have a few in a queue already that I need to address. But first, Missy, she's been waiting since the beginning of the show. Let's get this one done. She's asking why people don't dream. She has a lot of people around her who don't dream. She's asking why.
Yeah, so my brain goes to the science as well, or to like EEG brainwave monitors. So I guess our brain, our human body is a biofeedback. So with the soul plugged into the pineal gland and plugged into the vagus nerve, plugged into the nervous system, this is how our avatar, our soul experiences this earth. So there's certain, if you're finding that you're not dreaming, this is where spirit is taking me. So some of us might have these REM or deeper states or these theta states where we're getting into kind of like a dreaming. But if we're exhausted or if we're needing a deep sleep, we might not necessarily be remembering them. And I'm not saying that people don't dream, because there probably is some people out there that don't have that. But what they're showing me as a solution to this is learning how to get into deeper brainwave states and a waking conscious level. So there's certain things like Muse headband technology, focus band, that is a little headband that you pop on that will measure your EEG brainwave feedback, and it will show you when you're getting into these deeper, almost dreamlike states, so deeper theta. So when we can practice in the conscious, or when we can even use things like hypnotherapy, we can use breathing to induce theta states too. And when we train ourselves to do that, we can also then start to train ourselves to lucid dream. So I highly recommend, there's an author who's a friend of mine called Greg Doyle. So he's written books on astral travel and on lucid dreaming and teaching you how to get into that state, but definitely start to practice on a conscious level first is what Spirit's showing me. It's like you're opening the gateway.
Okay, very good. And SOLRETA, we're an hour 15 minutes in. I forgot to ask you before we started the show, how much time do you have?
I've got 15 more minutes because I've actually got another show coming.
Okay, I have another show after that too. Okay, so let me just cue this up. So I had one for sunshine, she asked a few times here. I had a bad fallout with a friend almost 3 years ago. Will I ever recover? Grief comes in waves for me. Why am I holding on so much?
Yeah, sure. So
Okay.
what I'm seeing with this is there being like a misunderstanding to do with the friend, and I feel that Sunshine's intentions were pure, but the friend had her own dialogue or own story as to the way things happened.
Mhm.
And I'm seeing this being very fixed, meaning that there's not anything that you could have said or done to change the situation, is what I'm seeing. So I'm just picking some cards to do with this. They're giving me 4 cards. We'll flip these because I know we are running low on time. Okay. Yeah, so what we've got is Ace of Wands. We've got that thing happening. Now we do have going the separate ways. We do have that choose your own adventure. So the friend chose to, to go their own different way. But we do have, where they're talking about from now, there is the 3 of Discs. So this is about pushing this energy, emotion, and intention, like putting things aside. So we can see that this tetrahedron is almost like a stone monument, and it's on the disc. So on a physical level, starting to really go, all right, now that was the experience that that person had chose. I brought this kind of energy and intention to the situation, and that's okay that they chose that other path. So with this choose your own adventure card, it's like they chose to go walk down into the dark cave, and you've chosen to sit on the beach. So it's not having to reminisce so much about the past. This is really looking at like where you are, what you're creating for the future. And we have the Empress energy. So beautiful energy. She's heart-centered. Now she has a little bit of magic around her too, and she's tapped into other dimensions and there's a Phoenix energy on her shield, 2 phoenixes coming together. So I feel that this is talking about like a soulmate friendship relationship, and in kind of sitting in the energy of the past, we're not able to step into what might just be around the corner and what we might be ready to attract and create. So we need to let go of things going down a certain way and see it more the essence of what the friendship was before that happened. So it doesn't necessarily mean having to have that friendship come back, or to, sort of have that that come back to life. What's interesting though, what they're trying to allude to and talk about with the future is there is someone that you do have a very deep soul connection with that is hanging around the future. Now, if you don't come into alignment with it, it's harder for them to see your little beacon of light flashing. So when you start to step into your empowerment, be this beautiful energy stepping into your power, that heart space, we have that this comes into being or into frequency. So it's the card of the moon. So yeah, it's getting to that deeper aspect of manifesting and really starting to use your intuition and put out what it is that you bring, and visualize yourself as a friend and what it is that you bring to the world, what it is that people look for in qualities of you as a friend.
Okay. And do you think we have time for 3 quick ones? I'm just judging by everybody here. I'm trying to. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, so it'll be Christine.
I still have a couple. If anyone does want the 2-hour session at the discounted rate, I still have a couple left as well.
Okay, and that's at SOLRETAPsychicReadings.com, and the coupon code is Love Magic in high caps, 1 word. All right. So the order of the last 3 questions will be Christina, Sarah D, and Jim Montgomery. So the first one is Christina. If the energy is right, I would love to know if there are potential love interests on the horizon despite COVID. All right.
Sure, let's have a look. What's interesting is Spirit just took me straight to like this 4th dimension, but then I also saw the internet. So there might be a couple of people floating around in terms of like internet or in terms of like online chat. Go for the ones that have high level gold energy is what Spirit is showing me. For those that trigger and activate this spiritual quality and fire within you. I'm just flipping these cards. Here's the gold energy. So there's what we're talking about. This is in the center. This is in the present. Because in the past, there may have been some that perhaps brought drama. And then we have the card, the 7 of Wands, to do with futility. So sometimes this can feel like that energy of things are kind of stacked against you, or not knowing how to get ourselves out of a situation. So focus on this energy, the Chariot, which is moving forward, and it's high frequency. This is about not only moving forward, but it's about calling things to you. So sit with that energy, sit with that intention. It's Cancerian energy. It's you being in that nurturing, caring mode too. I feel to be careful not to overly do so, because you may have offered more in relationships in the past than was brought to you. So make sure there is that balance, that it's a communication, dialogue, or relationship of where there is give and take, that it's not one-sided and you just give, because I do see a tendency to be a beautiful empath in that way for you, Christina. I really feel that quality. The other thing that I'm also seeing is they're showing me animals around. So whether if you have animals or have thought of it, or whether animals are being attracted to you at the moment, but I feel that there's emotional comfort to do with animals that they're showing. So sometimes when we shift, and with this 21st of December, birds are interacting differently. Where birds would have flown off in the past when you walk past them, notice how that birds don't fly off anymore when you're at a certain level of awakening and consciousness.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. Jim, let's go back to you first, Jim. Sometimes I feel like I don't belong here at all. I live and love, but I know it's very temporary. Can you advise?
Okay, let's have a look.
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate the tip.
So what I'm getting with this is, as soon as I closed my eyes to shuffle, I felt like a feeling of deep sadness, in terms of like feeling disconnected, or feeling the energy they're giving me to is, I guess you would call it like an older soul or an older starseed that feels that they've been awake on the earth for a really long time, waiting for others to wake up.
Right.
And it's almost like the world is waking up. Perhaps not to the same level, but there are others that are kind of awakening from that slumber. But because you've been here, quite a while and living in a certain way, we can forget sometimes to come out of the cave. So they're giving me the image of the hermit. So the hermit has to, at one point, step up out of the cave to bring the light to humanity. So looking at ways in which you can interact and start to find your tribe, or start to come out of this, how do we say, not prison, but like they're saying to some level it might be self-imposed. So to make conscious energy and effort to connect with others that might be like-minded on a physical level. So I'm flipping these cards. Thank you, Sunshine. So we have the energy of death. So this is transformation. This is connected to do with the past. And we can see this soul incarnation energy here. It's like 1 lifetime, 2, 3, around this little pole. And a Scorpio energy, there's deep feeling or deep sadness with this. So there may have been other planets, other places that you've come and you've seeded the wake up of this consciousness with on the planet. But this is what we were just talking about, coming together with the other tribe members. But you have to bring that light out into the world, and it helps to feel connected. This is Venus, this is Taurus, this is moon energy. So there needs to be some kind of movement. Taurus is a very slow moving energy. And what I mean by this is sometimes they come to the party late, even though their feelings will know things. Sometimes they show up like after the party started, but they've had the energy within them all along. Then we have Princess of Cups. So this is bringing one thing from one world, a higher dimension, into the physical. So there's still so much that you can bring and give to this awakened world. But what I am seeing is sometimes you feeling like even those that you are around that are awakened, that there's still like a different variance in energy, or that there's a difference in how much they're awakened to, or that you're still seeing that there's a veil placed over them. Just be patient and be that example of that awakening is what I'm seeing within this situation.
Very good. And the last one was for Sarah D. And I took a snapshot here, so I can't bring that back on the screen. But she said, I added to the tip jar, not sure what the appropriate... That's fine. Thank you so much. Whatever you can do helps everyone. Thank you so much for all the tips, everyone. I really appreciate it. I would like to know about my guide. I know she's feminine, and my number is 13. So Sarah D wants to know about her guide, her spirit guide. She believes it's feminine, and her number is 13.
Yeah, so I just had this card come out. So we have Queen of Wands, so very feminine energy, very high level. We see that there's a certain level of intuition, there's a certain level of spirituality and fire that she brings through. I do feel that there is something around animal communication. I'm going to pick some other cards. I feel that there's a certain level of almost like telepathy, like heart telepathy, that's coming through to do with this guide. And I'm getting this like almost like tingling, itching over the third eye area. So I feel that this guide is working with psychic development and working with what we would call like PSI, like psi abilities, and really trying to kind of like wake up this area. But what I'm seeing is a lot of heart energy over the third eye. So this is about nurturing this third eye. It's about nurturing this gift. And I feel that there's been temple work for you in other lifetimes where you have had this faculty open. And in this lifetime, because we've been sort of, under this dream spell, that there's almost like a sense of frustration. It's like, oh, I sense and feel this magic within me. Why won't it just come out now? So I'm feeling this connected, and I feel that this guide's working with you to help with this. So I'm just flipping these cards. Yeah. So here we have the energy of what we were just talking about, this disconnect or this feeling of having energy within you, having this spirituality and awakening. We can see the fountains working from sort of like mid-level down, but on a spiritual level, there has been something that's disconnected. So I feel that this is the fall into this time, this place, this fourth dimension. We have the card of the moon. This is the temple work that I was talking about. So I feel that you have known this guide from temple times. But I also feel that this is a gift that you have to work with psychic senses. So I have a lot of videos up talking about psychic senses, and also shortly we'll have a psychic course coming out online, because I used to only teach in person. But with the current state of the world, it's good to be able to reach as many people as possible, seeing as I can't travel to the States anymore, or to other countries. So yeah, have a look out for that course. But this is a light that you have within you that your guide is drawing attention to, and talking about bringing that beautiful heart energy into the third eye to nurture your gifts.
Wow, that's beautiful. All righty. So Jim responded. He says, "Oh my God, thank you, Solreta. That was 1,000% correct. Thanks, JC. Love you, bro." So thank you so much, Jim. I appreciate that. And Christina also responded. Thank you, Solreta. Yes, I do always give a lot of my relationships. Nickname is the Duck Whisperer. Oh, no. That's great. So thank you, Christina. And I hope for the last one also, that made sense to you guys.
Oh, that's
okay. It was for Sarah D. I've been meditating, working on it. Thank you so much. I will check those out and those videos. Okay, so yeah. And if you guys want to learn more about some of Solreta's work, you can find her work here at solretapsychicreadings.com. She's got quite a few really cool meditations here, a lot of documentations. That's free for you guys to go check out. And of course, if you want to have a personal one-on-one or a couple's 2-hour relationship psychic reading here too, is there any left as you're looking at your phone for this coupon code here, Solreta?
Yeah, I still have just a few left.
Okay, very good. And so that's Love Magic in one word is the coupon code. And let me bring that back up here. There you go. So folks, thank you so much for joining us tonight on this episode 4 of Simulated Reality with Solreta. If you're watching this on our channel here at Beyond Mystic, please remember to like, share, and subscribe as always. And forward these videos to other people who you might think might need to hear some of these messages. And of course, if you're also following here, please go to Solreta's YouTube channel here and subscribe to her account as well, as she is gearing up here now that she's finished her move to prepare more and more content here on her YouTube channel. And of course, if you're watching there on Solreta, please come back on this one and subscribe as well. That's the whole point of doing these simulcasts, or we're trying to share and build a community stronger. Yeah. That's the whole point. So Solreta, last words of advice from you to the audience here tonight on this theme of relationships and May Day weekend before we go.
Yeah. So because you guys, I'm woken up to May Day here. So possibly going out into somewhere in nature, doing a meditation. You can even make like a little jar where you put different things in. So I've got, for my May Day, I've got some crystals here. So I don't know if you guys can see. There's a couple of pink ones in here.
Let me bring it up a little bit higher and go ahead.
So I've got some pink crystals here. So some rhodochrosite, some rose quartz, and then I've got just some other ones that are to do with like connected intuition or love. So you can use things like cinnamon, which is a herb for, or a spice for love. You could use rose petals, different things. So when we're gathering ingredients like this, whether we put them in a little pouch or a jar, and we use this with our intention, so clearing the space, step into that place of the heart that we spoke about. So for anyone that wants that boost on perhaps how to work with the energy, go back to the start of this to watch that original collective reading, to use that kind of energy to really put out into field what it is you want to create in relationship. So perfect day to do this. It is the one day in the year where we work with creating and manifesting love and have that fire and energy and intention behind it. So yeah, definitely utilize this window of opportunity. So I will be going into nature and yeah, just doing some contemplation and doing some manifesting. So exciting day.
Very good. And the Andromedan is asking, will she be doing lives? Are you going to be doing live shows soon?
Yes, so I've planned more lives in terms of readings and more zodiac readings on my site, and also have a couple of guests that I have lined up for shows, and you are one of them as well. So I look forward to interviewing you and having a deeper chat about, you know, your thoughts and your feelings on everything happening in the world, and, you know, how you work in the world too, because not only have you been a friend for a few years now, but I also look up to you and the way that you work and your view on the world. So that will be an exciting one not to miss.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Now you're making me blush. and now I'm going to be nervous. I wasn't nervous when you first invited me. Now I'm nervous. All right. So, folks, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. I really appreciate all of your time. And, of course, it was Serbian Mike here, too, in the chat. He was just saying it to everyone. Yes, thank you for taking your valuable time to tune into these episodes and to try to move the needle forward in your understanding of this simulated reality we are in. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much to all the great moderators like Mike in the chat who make this community strive and be beautiful and energetic for everyone. So thank you so much. I'm Jean-Claude BeyondMystic. Merci beaucoup, Solreta, and we'll see you soon, guys. Have a great weekend. Au revoir.